What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Game Tag VR. Today we are reviewing Until You Fall on PlayStation VR2. Until You Fall is a fantasy hack and slash roguelike with a great synthwave soundtrack and a truly physical VR fighting experience. The game is set on the world of Rogar, and it was once home to an extinct civilization fueled by a magical power called Ether. They were wiped out by a calamity of unknown origins. Now the world is full of aggressive monsters and demons. You are the last remaining rune knight brought back to life by a mysterious runesmith who forges you magical weapons to eliminate the enemy. The weapons vary from knives, daggers, swords, axes and a mace. They also have unique special powers. As I said earlier, this is a roguelite, so expect to die a lot. The idea being that each round you complete during your run, you get a choice of power-ups or ether. These power-ups can increase the amount of health you have, for example, or restore your health, or you can unlock perks for whatever weapons you choose. Some of these perks can be a risk for reward, for example losing a crystal of health to go towards doing more guard damage, or the chance for an extra critical hit. And even though this all sounds great and kind of nothing new in the world of roguelikes, Until You Fall does do something that sets it apart from other combat games, and that is weapon weight. This game requires you to dodge on command and block, and if for example you take a two-handed axe, hoping to block an incoming combo of sword attacks, chances are you'll only block maybe 1 of 4 of these incoming hits. Take a knife though and suddenly blocking is super easy, leaving your reaction time of where to place the knife as the only risk. The two-handed axe is an absolute beast due to its high damage special ability, but will be slightly slower to use and leaves your second weapon out of action. Each round offers you the option to increase your chance at a good run, or to collect ether to invest in your next run, and as you progress, you unlock new weapons. I believe there is 16 in total, and there's 3 levels of difficulty. I personally choose the harder difficulty, which rewards me with more ether, meaning when I go back to the beginning there is a chance I can unlock more upgrades, and this game is a real challenge, believe me. So as I said earlier, each weapon has special abilities, so let's go for my loadout, which is normally a sword and a dagger. So the sword itself does guard damage, and it also has like a shield ability, which is pretty cool when you're coming up to really hard bosses. And the dagger will have something called like a soul damage or something, which basically does damage over time. So I've got my dagger there for my defense, and I've got my sword there to be a bit more offensive, but both can actually be used to block really well. This game for me is all about patience. Another thing at your disposal is the dash ability. So if you push up on your right joystick, that will basically help break their guard damage. So that's technically how this game works. They have a bar of guard damage which you must break, which you can break by either blocking or dodging or just hitting them in general or dashing into them. And then you've got their own crystals of health which you need to get rid of as well. And what will happen is when you break the guard, you'll get a certain amount of time to do critical hits. There is a chance that you could take every crystal away and kill them in one hit, but it's quite rare, and obviously the enemies get more and more powerful and more dangerous the more you play. So with the gameplay out of the way, hopefully you understand it. If you've got any questions now, let me know in the comments. Just to reiterate, one of the best things about this game is weapon weight. The physical feeling of these weapons, they are solid in the world as well. You can scrape them against one another. It's really satisfying combat. So before I get into like my conclusion on whether I think the game's worth you buying or not, we need to talk about presentation, because I actually assumed, and this is strictly talking about PSVR, I assumed this game was going to be a free upgrade to PSVR2. But then at the same time, when I heard it was paid, I thought, oh okay, is there going to be like eye tracking? Is there going to be headset haptics or adaptive triggers? I don't know. Something for previous owners to give them a reason to spend another $25 or £20 in my money. And there actually isn't really, apart from the fact it kind of just looks a lot sharper than it did previously. But I mean, that makes sense. I mean, the PSVR2 is a 4K 2K per eye resolution display versus 1080p on the original PSVR2. You kind of would expect that. The other thing that really stands out here is the colors and the deep blacks. It looks really vivid, like truly vivid, better than any other headset I've got. It looks very good in that sense. But as for anything else, I would say the textures can be quite low. They're not bad. This is an ugly game. This is not an ugly game. I need to reiterate that. It looks fine, but if you're going to compare it, say, to like PCVR, for example, PCVR definitely looks better. There's no question in my mind about that. But the PSVR2 does a fine job. It definitely does lift it up from the original PSVR, but I still don't think that price hike is actually worth it. I feel more should have been done here, especially on texture point. You can look at a plant on the floor and it's got no textures. It's like something out of Turok. It's just a bold square leaf on the floor. But in other ways, it looks fine and it plays really well. And as I said, the music is very good. Do I think it's worth an upgrade? Well, if you're like me, you've put your PSVR away now and you're solidly focused on PSVR 2. Is the game good? Yes, it is. Do I enjoy playing it all over again? Yes, I do. It's a massive physical challenge. I've told you how much I enjoy it. I would give this game a good 7.2, 7.5 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't place it much higher than that is because even though it's a roguelike, it does feel a little bit repetitious. And I mean, just everything looks the same after a while. You know, it does. And I think the best thing to do with this game is actually step away and come back. But I definitely would put it around the 7 mark. Is it worth an upgrade? It's hard to tell. I don't know why. I didn't notice any headset haptics. Nothing really needs to be done with the triggers. And in fact, the way the PlayStation VR2 controllers are laid out, you tend to hit the PlayStation buttons during combat now and again, which is a little bit frustrating. Personally, I feel that Shell Games should have made this maybe a $5 upgrade or something for PSVR 2 users. I really feel it's a bit unfair, just to basically say, yeah, this game looks better. That's it. Like, it looks better, and it doesn't even look that great. They easily could have updated some of the visuals here to get very close to PCVR. Now we've seen the capabilities of the PS5 in conjunction with PSVR 2 with games like Red Matter 2 and Hubris. It's a real shame that, to me, this looks like a straight port from PSVR. Due to that, the panel is doing what it does best, showing you great colours and great blacks. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about this review, and I will see you on the next one.